Hello everybody, back once again with another video. So last time I showed my top 10 favourite comedy films. This time I'm showing favourite family films, so it's kind of live action ones rather than animated. So no sort of cartoon ones or computer generated, Pixar. So yeah, it's all sort of live action. There kind of is 11, but one I'm just going to talk about when I get to it, sort of two together. Yeah, absolutely pouring down in the UK today, so I was meant to be going to the gym, but my shoes are not waterproof. I found out yesterday, so thought a good day to stay in, make some videos and get some films watched. So anyway, on with it. So you've got Jungle Book, The Jungle Book. Obviously, this is the sort of remake. I mean, it has got some CGI creatures and things, but obviously Mowgli is played by a real actor. But yeah, I was really impressed by this. One of the sort of best family films I've seen. I mean, most of these, as you'll see, are sort of older from like the 80s and 90s. Seen a few that were close to making it in, sort of more recent, but not that many live action sort of family films that I've loved. I mean, I guess it's different. I've got some nostalgia for some of these because I watched them with my family, especially at Christmas. Whereas if I'd seen some of these for the first time nowadays, not saying they've aged or dated, but as an adult, you probably just don't sort of enjoy them and not as magical as when you see them as a kid. But yeah, out of all the sort of Disney remakes, I think this is the best one I've seen. Some real good voice acting, especially by Bill Murray as Baloo the bear. I don't know if you could see all the people there. Ah, yeah, it's coming to focus. Yeah, I don't actually know. I guess is it? No, I don't know the name of the main guy that plays Mowgli. But yeah, I mean, it's well made. It sort of looks good. The voices are really well done. I mean, the bit where King Louis, sort of obviously this isn't a spoiler, goes ape, no pun intended, is actually quite scary. I imagine if I watched that when I was a kid, he's basically huge and he's bringing down a temple and he's like growling and flying around and yeah, it's a lot more menacing than he was in the original cartoon. Um, Yeah, if you haven't seen this, check this out. I think I picked this up for like £1 in the pound shop. Although I did watch it, I think on Netflix or something back in the day. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I've seen Lion King and um, I've got Dumbbell. I haven't watched it yet, but anyway, I won't ramble on too much about that one. So yeah, Jungle Book, probably the newest one on this list out of all of these, and then Return to Oz. I think if you watch this nowadays for the first time, it is kind of yeah, this one is a bit dated and does have some bizarre direction. Well, the direction, should I say, storytelling, and it is a weird film. It's not a brilliant film, I mean, compared to some of these sort of classics. This is, yeah, I mean, it's more of a childhood sort of favourite to me and nostalgic, and used to be quite scary when I was a kid. But yeah, nothing like the original Wizard of Oz. To be fair, quite a dark kind of creepy film. It is a fantasy, but yeah, I mean, I spoke to a few YouTubers that haven't seen this. I would recommend seeing it, but yeah, be prepared for something very different to the original Wizard of Oz. Um, and this one I kind of included last minute, so I do really like this one. Watched it again recently. Obviously, didn't really realize when I was a kid it's got David Suchet in it from Poirot fame. Plays like the hunter. But yeah, basically, anyone that's watched my videos of my music CD collection, I just had a few CDs that had just gone missing. Um, and then when I was doing this ranking, I had this on DVD, and I was gonna include it, and I just could not find it in the collection. I don't think I'm overlooking it because I looked through it time and time again, and it would be in with like the kind of family section. So I looked in case I'd accidentally put it back in with the horrors or something. Although to be fair, this did you scare my sister and cousins. The bit when Harry's sort of first on top of the car, that's not really a spoiler, but obviously they find the Bigfoot, he's on the front. Yeah, so it just completely lost it, so I wasn't going to be able to include it, and then as fate would have it, I went into CEX yesterday, and it was on the shelf. I think it was only about £8. I might upgrade it into my own sort of bigger chunky case. I've got a few Blu-rays that I'm trying to get rid of. I've now doubled up, upgrade them to say 4K, but it's just not worth anything at CEX. So I might do a video, if anybody wants them, if they was to send me an address or something, I'll pay the packaging and give them to for them. Sorry, give them to YouTubers for free because, like I say, they're literally worth £1 each on CEX. So you get a bit towards trading, but I just feel robbed, sort of getting pittance for them. Well, they're going to sell them on for like 3 times that. Um, yeah, this was in CEX when I went a couple of weeks ago. I looked at it and thought of upgrading it, but obviously because I thought I had it on DVD, I just didn't bother. So yeah, it's quite sort of fate. So yeah, I chucked this one in. So this is kind of like number 11. Did I speak about it much? Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Good acting. Sure everybody knows that main guy on the front. George, he's called in this. Yeah, this one, sort of Best Creature Effects Award. Yeah, he does look really good, Harry, in it. Yeah, it's more of a kind of heartwarming film, and even though he's a Bigfoot, he turns out, again, no spoiler, to be friendly. And then you've got the Goonies. Really loved this one as a kid. One of my favourite adventure films. Really loved the intro when you got Cyndi Lauper singing. Uh, when I was about 15 or so, I used to have like a real crush on her. Obviously, first watched this when I was probably like 8 or so. It was on over Christmas. Yeah, I think me and my sister were a bit scared of Sloth from the Goonies. Yeah, Sloth, sorry. First of all, you hear him shouting and you see a shadow once you sort of meet him in it, and he's kind of friendly and he's not so scary, although he does look different. But yeah, it's got like pirate ships, it's got adventure, it's got booby traps, got like an all-star cast of good kids. Corey Feldman, probably one of the most famous, and what's the older brother? But yeah, this is a Steven Spielberg film. One of my favourite Steven Spielberg family films, although we will see one a bit higher up on this list. Richard Donner film. Got a few other films by him. I won't go on about the Goonies too much, sure everybody knows this, but if you're a bit younger and you didn't see this years ago, then I say it still stands up today and it is worth checking out. With all these, I'm trying to think of modern films that are like these, but they don't really make films like this anymore. I guess like, well, not even Ready Player One has kind of got adventure, and same as Super 8, but they got a bit more of a sci-fi edge, whereas this is a bit more of like a fantasy adventure. I guess it's kind of Indiana Jones for kids. Not fair to say that, because adults do enjoy it, and it's better made than just being a kids film. But yeah, anyway, stop rambling. Everybody knows the Goonies. Kind of, I guess you can include both of these. Ghostbusters 1, shall I call it, is better than Ghostbusters 2. I don't hate Ghostbusters 2 as much as a lot of people with all the pink slime under the subway, but yeah, it's a comedy, it's funny. I think I've said this before on my films that scared me as a kid, that the bit with the can't remember her name now, the ghost in the library. You scare me a bit, but my sister was terrified of that bit. You used to hide behind the cushion when we knew it was coming on right by the start. There's a few sort of risque jokes in this. I mean, it is a 12 to be fair. I didn't realise that when I was a kid. I thought it was like PG. When it's on TV, it probably had the bit cut out where basically Sigourney Weaver's possessed, and she says something to Bill Murray of like, "I want you inside me" or something in like a sexual manner, and then he says, "Oh, I think somebody's already in there." But yeah, there was a few jokes obviously go over your head as a kid that when you watch it as an adult, it's quite sort of naughty. Yeah, I guess the what they call the dogs, the big dogs, Zool's like guardians, I think they're called. So I'm blanking on his name now. The guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. Oh, look on the front of the easier, won't it? Rick Moranis turns into one of the dogs, and I think Sigourney Weaver does. Yeah, they're kind of stop motion sort of puppets or made of like plasticine. They look a bit dated, but most of the special effects still really stand up nowadays. And yeah, it does have some funny moments, especially the bit with Dickless. All-star cast, one of like Even Reitman's best films. We've got E.T. This is a steelbook. I showed this before with my steelbook collection. Yeah, so I used to really love this one as a kid. Although my mum said when I first watched it, I used to cry when you thought E.T. Obviously, this is a spoiler. I'm sure everybody's seen E.T. And you think E.T.'s dead, and he's gone all pale, and he's sort of been taken in for like research. I guess they're doing like tests on him, and he's in this like plastic tube thing, and Elliot like escape. But yeah, some really iconic moments like him flying on the bike. With E.T. in the basket on the front. Really good soundtrack to it. Well-made film. Early role for Drew Barrymore. Gertie, I think she's called in it. Yeah, really good sort of puppet effects on ET. Still looks quite good nowadays. It's not too like dated. Yeah, I'm sure everybody knows ET. I think this is the highest Spielberg film on here. Yeah, favorite as a kid. I watched it again recently. I still enjoy it, but I was tempted to put it a bit higher. But maybe it's got a bit less re-watch value for me than some of the other ones coming up. Not because I don't enjoy it anymore. Maybe I just seen it a lot as a kid. Same as I'll quickly show you this one as like an honourable mention. David Bowie's Labyrinth. I was tempted to include as a kid. That's my favourite, but I think I watched it so many times as a kid it kind of worn it out. So I still enjoy it, but I'll have to watch it every few years. It's kind of the same as E.T. really. But yeah, one of the best made films on this list. Just yeah, I think I've sort of seen it too many times really. Then a bit of an older classic one, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I've seen what's the remake with Johnny Depp. Didn't really care for that much. And then there's a one called Wonka with that what's his name, Timothy something. That's out with June. Meant to be quite good, but for me, none of them are going to be as good as this. I mean, a few of these are kind of musicals, I guess, and I'm not really a fan of musicals, but then adult musicals like Grease and stuff like that, I find a bit more cheesy, whereas the kids' ones, it kind of works. And like I've said before, I don't get how they all break into song in a musical and they all know the words, even though they've never met, whereas this, when, say, the Oompa Loompas are singing, makes sense they would know the song. Same as some we'll get to in a bit. Yeah, really good story. When I was a kid, used to just love seeing them in the chocolate factory, the chocolate and the sweets, the river of cocoa. Some kind of, well, I wouldn't say they're deaths, but you know when she called Veruca like swells up and turns purple, and she like gets stuck in the pipe, and basically all the horrible kids have something bad happen to them, and there's kind of a twist ending. Gene Wilder really good in it. Used to like the bit when he comes walking out with a cane and he does like a, what do you call it, like a somersault, where he sort of goes to fall on the floor and then tucks and rolls. One bit I didn't understand is how Grandpa Joe is bedridden, can't go to work, family are looking after him, there's like 8 old people in the bed, then once they win the golden ticket, he's up, jumping, singing around. So I think in the modern day, he would have benefit investigators after him for that one. This one I was tempted to, I mean, a lot of people probably have this as number one, but I mean, maybe it's the best of these films, just in terms of classics, but again, I watched this a lot as a kid, so I don't go back to it too often. Even though I've seen this a lot, and obviously it's always on TV, and as a kid I think we had it on recorded VHS. I've not really owned this one. I think I even had it on DVD. So yeah, this will be on my next pickup video, so spoiler, same as Harry Henderson will. In about 3 weeks or a month I'll do another pickup video, because I only did one recently. But yeah, what can you really say about The Wizard of Oz? I mean, 1939, so what, coming up to like 90 years old. But yeah, remember when I was a kid I started watching it and it starts in black and white, which I didn't mind as a kid, but kind of thinking it's going to stay like that, because obviously we didn't have this to see the back. And then when it does go into Technicolor, it looks amazing. So it's good colours anyway, but I think the sort of trick of starting with black and white, when the colours come in, they look even more powerful. Yeah, there's a few things I think Stuart George spoke about. How Julie Garland, is she called, played Dorothy, was only like 15 and she was treated badly on the set, and there was some stuff I heard about the people that play the Munchkins, the little people and that. But yeah, I mean, it is a musical really, I guess, a bit like Willy Wonka, but yeah, it's just a classic film. I mean, everybody I'm sure knows this, there's not too much I could say about that. And then I probably do, well, Home Alone 1 to me is more of a classic film. I did show that in my top 15 favourite films, but this, as far as sequels go, really expands on it. Like, it's a bit more Christmassy. Really like how they go into New York. You've got the pigeon lady. Sort of traps are better in like a bigger house. Obviously, the same bandits back. Yeah, maybe when I watch them nowadays, I probably enjoy this one more. Again, I think Stuart George said he prefers this one to Home Alone 1, or should I just call it Home Alone? But yeah, what really expands well on the original premise without sort of getting repetitive to the first film. You know, it adds extra stuff in and it's a bit more fun. But yeah, for me, just due to nostalgia and that maybe, plus I had like the Sega Mega Drive game of Home Alone when I was a kid, I kind of still prefer this one. I probably watch number 2 more at Christmas. I do usually watch both of them sort of back to back or on like days. And then Mrs. Doubtfire. If this, in terms of watching it nowadays, this would probably be top, but my number one is number one just because I think I've spoke about it before. You see, when we get to it, people probably guess what it is, but it just was the most what's the word, important, I guess, sort of most powerful film I've seen in the cinema. Whereas this I also seen in the cinema. Sally Fields is really good in this. Yeah, can't remember her name, but the young girl from Matilda. But yeah, obviously it's all about Robin Williams in this. When he's actually playing his main character, when he's the man, he's really good in it. And he's funny when he's sort of making a children's TV show and he's doing all the voices of the dinosaurs. But when he's Mrs. Doubtfire, not only plays the role really well, very nuanced, but and he kind of looks the part. But yeah, some really funny comedy moments. A bit when Pierce Brosnan nearly chokes and she gives him the Heimlich maneuver, and then says, "What's your name, Stew?" She said, "Stew, that's more of a thick soup or something." And the bit when we see him, I don't know the boy's name in this, but he basically walks in on Mrs. Doubtfire stood up, going to the toilet, and he's like, "He's a, she's a he," and he's all confused. Bit with the when his sort of chest catches on fire. Yeah, loads of funny bit. Again, Stuart George, I think, said this is his favourite one. Yeah, I was tempted to put this in the comedy ones, but even though it is a comedy, the comedy ones I showed are a bit more sort of adult ones. I mean, this is a 12, to be fair. When we went to the cinema to see it as kids, we were probably only like 8. My sister was probably only 6. She's like 2 years younger, but we didn't get ID'd. Maybe it was a PG back then. If anything, you think films have sort of come down in, some of the video nasties that were like 18s and now like 15s or 12s or something, just showing how times have changed. But yeah, I don't actually know who. Check who directs. Oh, Christopher Columbus. Didn't realise that. So he does quite a few films. I think he does 1 or 2 of the Harry Potter. But yeah, I'd say this is his best one. And then yeah, number 1, Jurassic Park, the original. I think we've seen Lost World at the cinema. Not sure about 3. 3's not a great film, or it's got the Spinosaurus. I think a lot of kids were annoyed how the Spinosaurus beat the T-Rex so easy. And then the Lost World is quite fun with Peter Postlethwaite. But yeah, it's all about Jurassic Park 1. So yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, maybe have more fun watching that nowadays than Jurassic Park. I mean, but at the time, seeing that at the cinema, the noise, the CGI, you'd never really seen dinosaurs like it. Went to see it with all my mates for the birthday. They were like really scared. And there was loads of merchandise to it and like computer games again on the Sega Mega Drive. Do enjoy like Jurassic World, the first one, not so much Fallen Kingdom and Dominion or whatever it's called. Seen that at the cinema, but was quite disappointed with it. Oh, hang on, yeah. So it's Steven Spielberg. So yeah, you had 3 Steven Spielberg films on here. So it goes to show really he's the best sort of family director. Could have had some more. Might be some in my animated. Stephen, without giving spoilers, but if you're wondering, Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson made Tintin, The Golden Voyage, is it called? No, that's Sinbad. Tintin, which I'm not a massive fan of Tintin, the cartoon or the comics, but the live action I found really good. So yeah, might have that in the animated. So yeah, Spielberg kind of gets everywhere, doesn't he? Made war films, made sci-fi, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Might do a video of all my Steven Spielberg films ranked. But yeah, tried to get this one under 20 minutes. I know I don't think some people mind watching a longer one, but it's having the hours in the day. I find with a lot of the people I watch, the YouTubers, they're releasing nearly every day with work and stuff. Sometimes I get home and there's, 5 new videos up at like 40 minutes each. It is. I enjoy watching them, but, it's just getting the time. So yeah, I've finished that there. So anybody else got any favourites or anything that I've not seen or missed, or any interesting facts about these films that I've not mentioned, then let me know down in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Back again soon with another video. Thank you, bye.